My name is Kata Stier, and you are listening to the Bitcoin Kebab podcast powered by Bitcoin Basis. I am having Pavol Lupták here today, who defines himself as a voluntarist and a crypto-anarchist and a perpetual traveler. Hello, Pavol. Thanks so much for accepting my invitation.
Hello, Kata. Nice to meet you.
How are you today? All good?
Super fine. Yeah, it's very shiny here where I am.
Yeah, I can see the sun is shining, so nothing can be wrong. Can you please clarify these definitions about yourself? So first of all, I'm very curious to know, what does it mean being a perpetual traveler?
Perpetual traveler basically means that I don't stay in any country basically more than 3 months. I'm traveling all the time. I'm in this mode like last 7 years probably. So I'm just like a full-time perpetual traveler, which means I became something like a global opportunist, which means that I'm trying to use the best from each country I visit. Maybe I should explain the so-called flag theory, because a lot of perpetual travelers, they follow the flag theory. Flag theory basically means that you have citizenship in one country, you have permanent residency in the second country, you have your bank account in the third country, or you are completely crypto.
Okay.
You have your company in the fourth country, and then you have your customers in the fifth country, and finally you live in a sixth country. So basically, it means like your whole life is decentralized in such way that for each aspect of your life, you basically choose the best country.
How did you start it? What was the breaking point when you told to yourself that, okay, I must go now? I had enough.
Maybe one of the main reason was that in Slovakia many years ago, they approved the worst crypto legislation. So, for example, if you're like a crypto holder or crypto user in Slovakia, you have to pay almost 40% tax from your crypto.
40%.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
It should be like an income tax, what is about 21-25%. And then you have to pay from each your crypto income, you have to pay 14%
on top of this
healthcare insurance tax.
Oh my
like
God.
Healthcare insurance. So basically, when you add a healthcare insurance, which is like a 14%, and income tax, which is 25%, you finally pay almost 39% or almost 40% from your crypto. And it basically also means that any crypto to crypto change, so for example, you change your Litecoin to DAI, for example, or any crypto to any crypto, or you basically just stake your crypto, everything is just a tax event, which basically means you have an obligation, you have a duty to pay tax from this tax event. So for example, if you're like a active crypto person like me, and you are doing like 100 crypto transaction daily, and you're staking crypto, and especially in this DAI, it's really common. You basically definitely breaks. You definitely break some local Slovak rule or law, and just because I don't want to be like a criminalized because I'm breaking like a lot of stupid laws. That's the reason why I decided that I cannot afford to have the tax residency in my country. So I got the permanent residency in Panama. Secondly, I got the permanent residency in Paraguay. Now I'm in the process of asking for permanent residency in Uruguay. So basically, all these three countries, they have something what is called territorial taxation, which basically means you have an obligation to pay taxes only from your local income. But if you have any foreign income, I mean income from abroad, you don't need to pay any taxes.
So just to make it clear, if you have a company in the European Union and you reside, for example, in Paraguay, you don't need to pay taxes
No,
in regards of the activity
this territorial
carried out in the
taxation.
EU.
Okay, this is a very good question. This territorial taxation, especially in Paraguay, is applied to physical persons only, not to companies. So if you have like a Paraguayan company, yeah, that's very important to say. But you can make like a really nice, interesting combination. So, for example, okay, so it basically means your Paraguayan company has to pay 10% income tax from your global income, like in Hungary or in the European Union. But you as a European citizen, you can create like a company, for example, in the US, like a US mining company, and doing business strictly out of the US. So in this situation, your US company does not need to pay any taxes from your foreign non-US income, which means, and when you own this company as a Paraguayan tax resident, so basically it means you don't have tax residency in any other country, and you pay dividends from your US mining company, for example, you also pay 0% taxes because it's your foreign income for you as a Paraguayan tax resident. So basically, when you're willing to create interesting, maybe a bit strange combination, well, like have company in one country, have tax residency in another country, you can save a lot of money in taxes, and you can also become much more flexible.
Of course. Let's jump back a bit in time. How did you get involved with cryptocurrencies initially, like originally?
My technical background or my job background, I'm like a computer hacker. Okay. So I created 2 IT security companies in Slovakia and in Austria, and basically I'm doing this IT security almost 20 years. And hackers community was the first community that basically started to use cryptocurrencies since beginning, basically since 2010 or 2011. So it was super hot topics in that time because I'm also like a crypto-anarchist or cypherpunker. So we always dreamed about like a digital decentralized cryptocurrency. Like even there is like a very famous crypto-anarchist, the author, he's already dead now, the author of Crypto-Anarchistic Manifesto, Timothy C. May, and he, for example, predicted Bitcoin or digital money in the beginning of 90s last century. So Bitcoin was predicted by these cypherpunkers many years ago, and we were super enthusiastic when we just found out that we have fully functional implementation, which is called Bitcoin.
So by now, as you travel a lot, right? Is it possible to travel only with Bitcoin?
I would say sometimes it's hard, but every year it's more and more easy. Despite the fact that there are a lot of crazy crypto regulation and a lot of crazy like a privacy intrusion like KYC, using crypto is more and more easy. For example, I used to visit like a Paraguay, Panama, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Georgia, especially these 5 countries, and in every country we have like at least Bitcoin ATM machine of some crypto dealers, I would say, called crypto dealers. So like a trusted crypto dealers, so you can visit these people and you can immediately change your crypto to local cash.
Like face to face, right?
Face to face, local cash to Paraguayan Guarani, which is like a local currency, for example, or Georgian lari, which is so basically when you know these people, and I know these people, you can completely live in these countries from crypto only, because you just change a lot of crypto to cash, and you can use it like an anonymous cash all the time. So yes. Every time it's more and more easy. Also, I used to buy flight tickets using crypto. There are many flight companies offering flight tickets for crypto. The same for accommodation. You can pay. There are like some crypto alternatives to Booking.com. So basically, you can order and pay your hotel using crypto. So yeah, technology works.
Do you see any difference in the attitude of people, for example, comparing Europe to South America, for instance? Or the community is like one and united?
You mean like a mentality? What is the difference in mentality? Yeah, I can tell you the main difference. I think that people in Latin America, they live more for the present moment. You know, like in English, there is like a very good word for that. It's called mindfulness. You know, like you're mindful. Mindfulness, which basically means, especially in countries like Argentina, you have like a crazy hyperinflation. So these people, they don't have any future. I mean, any financial future, because they are not able to save money, for example. Like in the next month, the money will have no value at all. So the thing is that I think people in Latin America, they live more for present moments. And people in Europe, they just plan everything, you know, like they're planners. And especially if you're like a Germany or this country, they're planning like a many years, you know, in advance. And that's the main difference, you know, like Europe is a country of planners, people who spend most of their time just doing plans for the future. But there are many times they are just forgetting, enjoying present moment.
Yeah, of course.
So this is like a difference in mentality. And also because like countries, especially like Venezuela or Argentina, they have many historical problems with hyperinflation. They have incentive, they have more motivation to use crypto, at least to save their to save their savings against inflation. And this is also interesting in Europe. We can see it now in this Russian-Ukrainian conflict, when like a lot of banks and financial institutions, they stopped working in Russia, especially in Russia. And Ukraine, the local currency is losing their value. So a lot of people now, they see like a real use case just to use crypto, because crypto will always work.
Actually, now we can see why financial freedom is so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
But actually, what is your view? Why do we need financial freedom at the first place?
Yeah. So I think we need financial freedom because without financial freedom, we are not free people. You know, it means then when we don't have the financial freedom, it means that there is some authority, there is some government, for example, that have a full control over our lives, over our spendings, over they can easily freeze our transaction. What is quite like, for example, in Slovakia, probably also in Hungary, we have like special legislation for crisis, like war, for example. And in that situation, like the government can basically seize your money, freeze your bank accounts, take all your money and everything. So now we can see that in this special crisis situation, governments legally can take your money, can misuse this situation to take you a lot of money. So especially now, it's super important to use cryptocurrencies just to be immune against this threat.
But do you think that basically, I'm curious of your experience, that people are aware of this, that we are actually not free? As we don't have education, financial education, for example, in the school, we are not prepared for this exceptional situations like a war, for example. I don't think that people are aware that basically we live with...
To be sincere, I have to say that most of people, I mean, majority of people, they don't care about freedom, and that's fine. You know, they just don't care about freedom. They care about like I don't know, stability, or you know, like some wealth or something. You know, some good life conditions. But still, there is maybe 10, maybe 15% of people, and they really care about privacy and freedom. And this minority of people, and it was also in the past, in the like also and these people, I think they should have a right to do that, to protect their privacy.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't believe, or I don't trust any like a European like a privacy legislation. I think what really help us are just technical tools, you know, like the app, the technology, like privacy technology that can help us a lot.
Yeah, but how can that be mainstream? I mean, how will people get to know about it, and how will they start to use it if there is no consciousness about this kind of stuff?
I think this should be like our mission, to basically spread this security awareness or privacy awareness to other people. And I believe that everybody who really cares about privacy and security, and is willing to sacrifice some time, some money, some energy to privacy, can find this information and use this information. But we should be aware that we are working not for the mainstream, but for like a minority, and always minority of these people. Even in dictatorship countries like China, for example, North Korea, these countries, like, still most people do not care about freedom. You know,
Yeah, true. True. You are right. Yeah, but actually, as you were mentioning, minority, decentralization is about starting with the minority, no?
Yeah, but the cool thing is that, like, in a perspective of one country or one state, we are like a minority, but from the global perspective, it's a lot of people. You know, we are like millions of people.
This is what I was going to ask, as you travel a lot, so most probably you meet more people than me from this so-called community. So what is your experience? What is your view on this? This crowd is actually growing?
Yeah, for sure. I can tell you, like, in every country, crypto community is just growing. Like, I visited Panama maybe for the first time, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and there was almost no like crypto community, and now there are like 1,000 of people. And also, it's growing in countries like Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina. In all these countries, there is like an active crypto community, and it's just growing. Especially now when people are afraid of, you know, run on banks, for example, or freezing bank accounts.
Yep.
Crypto is becoming more and more popular. It's just a question of time. We have to be patient.
Have you visited El Salvador recently too?
No. I visited just Honduras. Like, many people, they think that Salvador is a great country for permanent residency, but the thing is that it's one of the most dangerous country.
Yes, I read about this actually. That's why I'm asking you, because you are more familiar at the area rather than me. And this is what I read, that it's a very, very dangerous country actually. And although now the marketing is good,
and
but you wouldn't want to go there in reality.
Personally, I definitely do not recommend you to say anyone in El Salvador that you have any crypto. I think it's a not good idea. This is the first thing. Another thing is that it's not like a territorial taxation country. So even if you decide to move to El Salvador, you have to pay taxes from your global income, including crypto. There is like exception for Bitcoin, I think. But if you have any foreign income, you have to pay taxes. And obtaining the permanent residency was quite expensive. I think it cost like 3 Bitcoins or something like that, which is maybe 20 times more expensive than permanent residency in Paraguay or Uruguay. So for me, or for me and my friends, it doesn't make sense at all.
Of course. So now there is a big international community in these countries you mentioned, or is just picking up now?
Yeah, I think especially in El Salvador, there is like a Bitcoin beach, which is like a really popular place. And in Bitcoin Beach, they decided to accept like everybody in Bitcoin Beach accept Bitcoins or Bitcoin Lightning.
Obviously.
Yeah, and but also like Bitcoin is starting to be popular in many expat cities. For example, in Bogota, city in Panama, also Montevideo, definitely in Buenos Aires. In Buenos Aires, you can see a lot of billboards of Binance everywhere, recommending people to buy crypto and be immune against inflation. So, especially in Argentina, it makes sense.
And the foreigners are coming mostly from Europe or all around the world? It doesn't matter.
Europe, the US, Canada. Yeah. So for
Which
example,
countries mostly from Europe?
Germany for sure.
Really?
The biggest minority now in Paraguay, I think, is Germans. So and really a lot of Germans are leaving Germany and moving to Paraguay, because historically they have like German communities there. For example,
yeah. After the Second World War, many German people went
there are
there.
like German cities, German villages. So you can easily move from Germany to Paraguay, and you can just keep speaking in German language without
How funny.
You don't need to learn Spanish at all. That's quite interesting. Yeah. So German communities is really strong in Paraguay, and it's growing.
And what are the reasons now to go there?
Again, what
are the reasons to go over there?
Yeah. So
obviously, one reason is the taxation.
Yeah, there are multiple reasons. There are basically three reasons now, because we have a lot of customers from Europe, especially Central Europe, but including Germany. One reason is it's taxes, of course, or crypto legislation, which is really bad in European countries, especially in Slovakia, for example. So tax reasons. So if you have any foreign income out of Paraguay, you basically, as a physical person, you don't need to pay any taxes, which is like really cool, including crypto. So for crypto people who have like a passive crypto income, it's one of the best country. And what else? And during pandemic, many people left Europe just because of these lockdowns and
restrictions.
Very strict pandemic restriction, basically. Yeah. So
it's understandable.
So they were looking for a more free place with more personal freedom, especially.
Yeah, of course.
So for example, in Paraguay, I can find like a German anti-vaxxers communities, people who just didn't want to be vaccinated, so they moved to Paraguay, which is quite interesting, because now when you want to visit Paraguay, you have to be vaccinated.
Really?
So, but it's a new regulation, but before it was quite easy. So a lot of people who were against vaccination, they moved to Paraguay, and they have like anti-vax communities there. And the third reason, which is like a recent one, is many people are moving to Paraguay and Uruguay just because they're afraid of war in Europe. And not only that, but for example, in Slovakia and also in Czech Republic, many people leave Slovakia because we have a military service which is associated with permanent residence in Slovakia. So when you have permanent residence in Slovakia and there is militarization, you have to go to the war.
Yeah, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory. And when you decide to give up your permanent residency in Slovakia, and you can do that when you receive your residency in Paraguay or Uruguay, there is no like a military service for you. They cannot call you, because so so many
It's
people.
a sad reason. Yeah, it became actually a very, very valid reason nowadays, unfortunately.
Yeah. So now, especially last few weeks, many people are moving to South America just because they just want to avoid war and like a mandatory military service.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. So back to my intro. What does it mean being a voluntarist?
Okay, so voluntarism is basically philosophy where you believe that all human relationships should be always mutually voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it seems to be like a really natural, really nice, like a, yes, of course, the word should be like a, should be
Without
structured
enforcement.
in a
Yes.
way, but this definitely does not reflect reality, you know, because for example, just the relationship between like a citizen and a government is just one-way relationship, you know. So for example, you have a lot of duties you have never agreed with, you know, like taxation, for example, military service, and so on. So the thing is that I think that I'm like a consistent voluntarist, which basically means that not only that I think that all relationships should be like mutually voluntary between all peoples, but I also refuse any one-way enforced relationships between people. So I strongly believe that these relationships are like immoral. So, for example, regarding the current situation, I think that the Ukrainian government cannot force like a young man or any man just to go to the war. What is just doing? So everybody should have decide if he or she wants to do something or not, and nobody, especially government, cannot force us to do anything like that. And it's really immoral.
Yeah, true. I agree with you. And without going into politics, many people think, you know, that these relationships between, for example, a government and its people, it's based on an exchange. So what I mean is that, like, you pay taxes, and in return you receive certain services from the government, which we can argue.
Yeah, I know. Of course, I know this argument, but the thing is that you have never ever agreed with this exchange. You have never signed it. You know, imagine that you are going now to provide me some service. I'm going to pay for something, but we have never agreed. You know.
Yes, I know there are, you know, these social contract theorists who...
Yeah, that's exactly what I think, that social contract is like a stupidity and doesn't exist at all. You know, like
I agree with you, actually, because only because someone wrote this down once, I don't know, hundreds years ago.
No, nobody has ever seen like a social contract. It's just like a virtual construct, you know. It
We are just told.
And I also believe that, like, if you have like a community, any people, you know, imagine that you and me and some other people, we are members of some community. We cannot elect someone from our community and delegate to him some rights we don't have. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
So basically, I mean the privileges politicians have, basically they come from nothing, you know, because they voters purely technically and legally cannot delegate the rights they don't have to politician, you know. That's so basically this is like a really funny situation. So basically when you have like a community, or like typical cases amnesty, like usually the president of the state can do amnesty, but the thing is you cannot just say that this guy will have a privilege to make amnesty of anyone, for example. Yeah. So yeah, but so for example, this is quite interesting. But I'm also realist, so I'm aware that I have to live in the world of states, in the which are like monopolies for violence. But the thing is that when you are global and when you are flexible and you're able to move very easily, you can basically, you have to have like a master's. For example, legally, it's not possible not to have tax residency. You know,
this is what I was going to ask you, that how can you carry out your life like this? How easy or how difficult it is?
Yeah, like usually you should know some information, so you should know where to do some things.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, you can always, so basically you're choosing between multiple, you're always like a tax slave, for example. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be tax slave of some master. I mean, some
Unfortunately.
yeah. The thing is that what is cool that in these modern times you can basically choose between masters, and you can choose the best one, you know, and you can choose the best master for each part of your life. So especially I think the most fragile are people who basically have center of their interest and everything in just one country, you know. So for example, in Hungary, you have your company, you have your family, you have your clients, you have your bank account, you have everything, you know. And then just Orban decides to issue some stupid law, and half of your things just,
as usually he does. Sorry.
doesn't. So the thing is that, and that's exactly why it should be decentralized. And I'm not talking about decentralization on like a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. It's definitely fine, but I mean other aspects of your life. So one masters on one politician or like a small group of politicians cannot significantly change your life in a bad way.
Mm-hmm. So is this in relation with being a digital nomad? Let me please enlighten me. What is there any difference between someone who lives a decentralized life or someone who is being a digital nomad? Is there any difference between the two, or we can consider it as one?
Yeah, like digital nomad is basically okay. I think the digital nomad is basically a person who lives some time. I mean, a few months in some specific country. But I don't think that digital nomads has to use the best from the given country. You know, like I think digital nomads, they pay normal taxes. You know, they usually have tax residency, and many times in a very bad country, and they normally pay taxes. So I think there is like a quite big difference between digital nomads who are basically just moving every few months in some different, they live in different countries, and perpetual travelers, or they call it like a PT or permanent travelers, or these global opportunists who are basically trying to use the best from each country. So that's I think that the main difference. So basically you live in some country, but you know that, for example, for the permanent residency, Paraguay is the best. So you have the residency in Paraguay, but you live somewhere else, you know, and you don't live anywhere more than 6 months. So so basically you cannot obtain easily tax residency in the given country. So you still have the tax residency in Paraguay only, for example.
If you would have to name 3 countries in the entire world, like the best ones, in your view, it's like your personal taste, let's say so. Yeah. Which countries would that be?
Best, it's hard to say from which perspective, you know. Like,
that's why I'm asking 3, not just one.
Like I think the Paraguay is probably the best country where we are talking about territorial taxation country, where it's super easy and cheap to obtain the permanent residency, because there are many territorial taxation countries, most countries in Central America, for example, but you need to make some investment. For example, in Panama, you have to buy the apartment for at least $200,000. In Uruguay, it's $380,000. So basically, Paraguay is is the best compromise when we are talking about the investment. Like it means no investment at all. How easy immigration process finally is. It's very easy, and benefits for sure. So, for example, for permanent residents, it's Paraguay for sure. Now for bank accounts,
yes, the worst part.
before this war, I would say Georgia.
Okay.
But because after this war, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because Russians are quite a big threat for Georgians now. So I'm not sure. But before, Georgia was a great country for opening the bank account. Georgia did not sign CRS, Common Reporting Standard. So basically, Georgia.
As far as I know, it's a very popular destination also for digital nomads now.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite expensive. It's 2 times cheaper than the most countries in European Union. So for sure. So Georgia, second country, and the third country. If I should choose a European country, like a country from the EU, maybe Portugal or Czech Republic, because these two countries are most liberal. Also, there is a special exception for crypto. So when you have just one-time crypto payment, you don't need to pay taxes from crypto in Paraguay. They have beautiful beaches. Madeira is one of my favorite island. I love this island.
Portugal, very, very beautiful country.
So maybe Portugal would be a third country.
What is your main focus now? What are your plans for the future?
Yeah, in the following days, we would like to launch permanent residencies in Uruguay. So I'm just working on this Uruguay marketing materials and everything. And so my main company now is Liberation Travel, and basically we are trying to help people to leave the system and to choose better masters if it is possible. And so basically I want to in the future I would definitely want to help people to be more free. That's my goal.
Thank you, Pavol. Thank you so much for this discussion. I really enjoyed it, and I wish you good luck. And hopefully one day I will see you in Paraguay.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot for the invitation.